Thank you all for coming here, and I would like to ask three of my colleagues to join the stage. First of all, Yvette. She will tell later what role she has in the municipality of The Hague. Marijn Fraaien and Grisjo Koers from the province of South Holland, which is almost a colleague yet, right? Yeah, cool. We're going to talk about challenge number one. We have two challenges. As you might already know, they are really linked to each other, but we are addressing them one at a time. So we start with challenge number one, and in the end, we have a slide presentation where we also mention a few of the building blocks of challenge number two. So if you can't be there in the second session, then you'll at least have some idea of what we're going to do and what we can offer. But first of all, I would like to give the mic to the guests and let them introduce them to you to say what their roles are within the municipality in the province of South Holland. Can I ask you first, Yvette?
Thank you. My name is Yvette Encius. I'm the program manager Smart Cities for the city of The Hague. And I was asked to see how digital innovations can help the city to be ready for the future in many ways. Economically, when you look at mobility, social issues. And we're building a living lab Scheveningen about which you'll hear more in a few minutes. So we're trying out and then try to scale up to the rest of the city and hopefully also to the rest of the region.
All right, thank you. Marijn?
My name is Marijn Fraaien. I'm the Chief Information Officer of the municipality of The Hague. And basically my main challenge is how to implement innovation within the municipality itself, especially digital innovation, but as well within the city in a proper, responsible way.
Grisjo?
Yeah, I work for the province of South Holland. My name is Grisjo Koers. I'm a policy advisor there on the topic of digital economy. So what's the impact of digitalization on the economy in the region?
All right, cool. Well, to take you along with our thoughts, I will ask some questions to the panel members, and there will be time for you guys to ask some questions afterwards. First of all, Marijn, you are the CIO of the municipality of The Hague. Can you enlighten us what's the biggest challenge you're facing right now?
The biggest challenge for the municipality is how to deal with all different kind of innovations that are happening this moment in society. Because it means another way of working for the municipality itself, basically changing in a faster way that we're used to as municipality, and other ways of governing the changes within the municipality itself. So I think that's my hardest challenge. How do you implement innovations in a lot faster way that we're used to as a municipality organization?
Right. And can you give one example, for instance?
I think one example where you can see that is tough work is we have a program, it's called Startup and Residence. And at a certain moment we picked out a startup that developed the My Clean City app. It's an app basically that citizens can report garbage on the floor to the municipality. But the problem when we were trying to implement it is that you can get that picture of sign of the garbage in your front end, but it doesn't mean that it's already there with the people that have to clean the street. And then you get stuck basically in how your organization works, because then it goes from one department to the next, to the next. So basically we first thought, okay, we implement it and that's done. But then you really have to tackle the whole stream behind to make it faster and more efficient than the old way of working. And it was quite a hard work to really redesign the process how to deal with that.
All right, thank you. Yvette, you're responsible for smart cities and digital innovation within the municipality. What do you would like to accomplish with the Living Lab Scheveningen, which is a project, well, one of your projects, actually?
Yeah, with the Living Lab, we would like to create a learning environment on a smaller scale, just to understand how a city works. Exactly what Marijn just said. We do not know exactly how it works, and there are all kind of new questions. And to practice with that and to see what we can do also together with companies. We try it out on a smaller scale. And it's the intention when we know and when we understand what we have to do and how it works, then we can scale up to the other city. But to do it in one way for the entire city, it's too risky for us. So it's learning by doing, step by step.
All right, and can you give an example of a use case that we're currently developing?
Yes, we are trying to. It's an area where there's it's a village in a village. So there are people living there, people working there. There are visitors, tourists, there's the beach. So there's a lot going on. And what we also see is that sometimes people who live there, they have noises from parties, from tourists, from traffic. And we try to reduce that in new ways by using sensors and smart city data to see what's going on and how we can reduce the noises for the people who are living there.
Right, cool, thank you. Gisjo, you're from the province of South Holland. What are you doing here?
That's a really good question, Sven. For us, the scale is important. You got to start somewhere, but we think the impact of digitalization on the economy is immense. If you look at South Holland, we got a harbor, we got a lot of other industries that you see decreasing, and innovation and digitalization is going to bring a lot of chances and going to bring a lot of jobs to this region as well. So you got to be you start innovate and be part of challenges like this and scale it up to the region.
Right. Thank you. Interesting. Well, part of this challenge is to create a governance layer. This challenge number one. Yvette, can you give us an example of can you take us through how are we doing it right now?
You mean the Living Lab and how we work together? Yeah, we started with a public-private partnership with some companies. I believe it were 8, and to see if we can join up forces together and try to find a business case in which we can work together to find solutions, innovative solutions for the city. But that became so extremely complicated, and it was so new for all the parties that we decided to end that cooperation. And now we own the Living Lab. It's from us. We built it ourselves. Of course, we do it together with companies because they have the expertise on fiber or other technologies. But first, we want to be the party that is dealing with everything up until we understand how it works. And we are quite far right now. I think within a few months we can actually start with working in the lab. So the latest infrastructure projects are taking place right now. So within a few months we can actually learn and start up all kind of use cases.
Cool. Yeah, really excited about that. Marijn, what do you expect getting out of this experiment of the Odyssey?
One thing for sure, help. Because the thing that we're facing with the Living Lab Scheveningen is a lot of technical challenges, data challenges, governance challenges. And the thing is, we have a lot of bright minds within the municipality, but they're too difficult to handle on their own. So I think these kind of innovations, we can only make it happen if we join forces with other parties together to really get us a step ahead. And that's what I expect from the Odyssey Hackathon.
Right. And can you also explain to the audience why is the current government layer not scalable?
The problem with the current government layer is that we have 10 use cases that we're implementing now. But from the municipality side, we do that with people. Basically, they guide the use cases, they make appointments, agreements. And that works fine for 10 use cases. But if you really want to scale it, for example, to the whole city, or with tens of thousands of use cases at the same time, you cannot do it anymore with manpower. So we need a different kind of system that can judge, okay, what use cases do we implement? What kind of boundaries do we set? And we need to do it in a different way than solely with manpower. So we need another kind of government system, partly digital as well, to help us to more faster get those use cases going on and basically decide what we do and what we don't.
Right, and Yvette, the civilians is playing a huge role in this venture. Can you explain what the role is in this case, and maybe how the hackers can use that?
Yes, we find it very important that they are connected in everything what we do, because they are actually living in a open living lab. So that is something that they need to know because it's part of their life. We want to include them in all the decision making that we do, and we would like to find new ways in doing that, because up until now we do a lot on communication. We try to meet with these people, but usually you see the usual suspects appear in there. And we would like to do more on that, and that is also part of the challenge. How can we include these citizens in our way of working and knowing what's on their mind and how we can cope with them in a new way?
All right, thank you. Gisjo, as a province of South Holland, you are also one of the suppliers of use cases in the lab. Can you how do you want to see the interaction between the actors, the stakeholders?
First of all, if you talk like subjects like air pollution, it doesn't stop at the municipality border. It goes beyond the borders. There's a big nature area next to the Living Lab Scheveningen. There are bats flying there, there are birds, there are bees. That's interesting for us as well. And they don't have a voice now. So if you build something based on citizens adding something, you need to give them a voice as well. And the second thing is we got about 1 million people in the Netherlands who find it hard to read and write. You're not going to reach them by making a forum or a vote on the internet. So we got to build something that you can give them a voice as well. So that's the bigger issue, not only for their own things, but for the things we want as a society as well.
Yeah. All right, thank you. A lot to process. Marijn, before we go into details of what building blocks we are going to give them, do you want to give the audience something we haven't mentioned yet?
I think what I expect from this challenge is to completely think out of the box. I mean, we provide some building blocks for these challenges, but really try to help us with totally new, different ideas that we didn't figure out ourselves. So don't get bounded by what we already did. Really try to help us to get to the next stage.
Right, thank you. Now we are going to show you some of the building blocks and how we can interact the two challenges. Ivo, can you help me with this? Let's do the two-man job, man. Well, first of all, this is the artist's impression of the area we're talking about. We are currently still building this. Hopefully Mother Nature will help us a little bit with the temperature, so we can make this tarmac look beautiful, and it needs to stay there for 25 years. So this is the area, and we have installed, they look like regular light poles, but they're not. They're actually very smart, and we call them smart city hubs. So they're like your smartphone. They give light and do a lot of other things too. They can do a lot of other things too. And we are challenging the community, the world, to develop apps for our smart hubs and interact with the people who are coming there. Last year we had 15 million people passing this piece of tarmac, so it's huge. It's very huge. Well, how are we going? This is our current process. Currently, when we have an idea, we have a few stakeholders and their needs, and some people are stakeholders. Well, sometimes they put in needs, and sometimes we ask them to think with us. But everybody has their own characteristics. Sorry for my English. And they have all a saying in this, but this is still a human-to-human interaction. When we figured out a use case, then we are deploying that to the lab, which is the area in Scheveningen, and then we are assigning this to the team, the internal team, to project the needs on technical basis within the area, and then we can install cameras, sensors, etc. in our smart city hubs. And then it loops back again to the group to see, did we learn something? Did the outcome surprises us or not? And this is a circle that's currently done by humans, and we would like to help you guys if you can help us, sorry, to make this a lot scalable and more quickly. Yeah. Well, we have 2 challenges. I'm on the first challenge, the challenge lead, so the onboarding process. So how can we safely onboard innovation and cool ideas? Make it as inclusive as possible, so also giving people and things and nature a voice that can't speak right now. And secondly, we have Ivo, who is lead of challenge number 2, because when you are on the lab, when we are creating data and collecting data that has also some value, sometimes money, sometimes not, we would like to share that with each other, so we would like to have an open market space where we can interact with each other. So these challenges are interlinked with each other. This is how we see this. It's built, and we have called it, to make it easy for us, the urban operator, which is doing certain things. It's just a set of tasks, and we have color coded them to see which we think should be in challenge number 1 and which will be in challenge number 2. But please, if you have a different opinion on that, share that with us on the forum or one-on-one with us, so we can improve this thought, because it's still a thought. Well, first of all, use cases. We have a building block, a voting tool, which we're using already. It's a tool where we can interact with residents to know what they want. We have used this in an area where we asked the residents to divide a budget on how we can spend it. There were some ideas, and they could vote on that, and it worked really well. So, and we can use this platform to as one of the building blocks, and it can be real live during the hackathon as well with actual residents. Second one is the hubs. It's okay. How do a hub is nothing more than a physical location with access to connectivity and power, but also it becomes interesting. Your phone is interesting when it has an app that you can use. So one of this is we do that together with the Hague University. They have a speaking feature that can be in a light pole or somewhere else, and that's something we can also use real life during the hackathon. Secondly, we have a data officer. She wants to check with us if it's legal what we're going to do, and can you help me with this one, Ivo? Sorry, it's more your part.
There's a few elements that we have internally where she's the presiding officer over our data ecosystem, I would say, internally. So we have an open data portal, which is already online. You can click and see it now if you wish. But we will make sure that we have like a hotline during the hackathon that will be able to answer questions if you want to make use of this. It's based on ArcGIS. There's also a new model from the VNG, the Union of Municipalities, that made a model of how public-private partnerships in the digital ecosystem can be formed. We want to provide you with that model, which is a document right now, and that could be a building block to see if we can actually implement this into the data ecosystem. We're looking at a few other things, but this is the most concrete for now.
Yeah.
Who of you knows Ocean Protocol here? That's actually that's very good. that's a very good raise of hands. Well, Ocean Protocol, as you might know, they are also a big partner here with Odyssey already. We have specifically partnered up with them because we think that they covered quite a big part of our challenges. Namely, we have a very centralized data ecosystem with a lot of silos of data. How can you start coupling all those data sources that we have in the city in a way that it doesn't need a centralized bureaucratic agent to do that. This is basically, they have a whole set of tools already online as well, already readable for all of you. Well, if you have any questions that specifies on this, you can put them through us. We'll make sure that they find their way to the Ocean team as well. So a data exchange protocol, specifically.
Yeah, you're going to take over?
Yeah, well, you might have seen Andrew on stage today. So the self-sovereign identity challenge, they are here. And they are actually providing us with building blocks. So I was called last week by their Jedi, Rieks Joosten from TNO. And he asked us, what tools do you need? Well, Niels and I, Niels here, our colleague in front, we are still designing what that would be, but we're thinking about a citizen profile with some credentials, let's say, that could be used as a form of interaction. If you have any requests, what you would like to see in a self-sovereign identity toolkit, let us know, we'll put it through. If you don't know anything about self-sovereign identities, the main thing is this open standard, the verifiable credential. That's what we would like to build on. If you have any other ideas, let us know. There's no right answer yet. This one you know.
Yeah. Okay, cool. This one I know. Thanks. We also built a 3D model of the lab, where we also put in the actual smart city hub locations. We can also add some extra details if you like. It's already online on the forum, so please scroll down and check if you're missing something. Let us know. But this is a really cool feature. It's a 3D model of the actual result, what we're going to build. So it's ready to use. Well.
Yeah, these building blocks are not meant to sort of direct you in any type of pre-thought solution we have. Of course we have ideas, but we want you to contest them. Like if you have a better solution than the building blocks we provided here, please take your own, let us know why ours is not that good. And come with new ideas. So that functionality map with the different colors you saw in the beginning, if you think something should be added and you know a building block for it, feel free.
Well, who will win? We all can read. But yeah, we would really like you to interact challenge number 1 and challenge number 2, because they're logically connected. And that's what we would like to see. We'll also be really glad if we are challenged with ideas we have not seen yet. So be really innovative on what you can offer. That's something we really would like to do. And secondly, this is real life. We really want to build this, and we really would like to use this. The reason it's still a small piece of land just on the coastal area of The Hague doesn't mean it stays there. It's a blueprint for the rest of the city. We are learning every day, and we're using the lessons learned to when we're changing other parts of the city. And that same thing with this hackathon. We would really like to have this in a working order.
I think one of the most important things is that this set of functionalities that we've shown, we have sort of separate building blocks for them. But the big challenge is, how do they interconnect? So if you can show us that you can couple our 3D program to a participation tool, or a self-sovereign identity to a data exchange, that's things that don't really exist now yet. Yes, you can focus on one specific element of that functionality map, and if you do that really well, of course there is a chance to win. But we will also look at, okay, who can combine these different elements or get multiple functionalities in one tool. We don't expect all the functionalities to be there yet. Would be the ideal situation. Don't aim for that, probably. But the third part is maybe something that would lead to that, if you can show that your prototype interacts with a prototype from another team and therefore cover multiple of those functionalities that we're looking for, why not let both teams win? So don't think inside your own box. Don't even think inside the box of your own challenge, but try to see the synergy between the challenges, our challenges, and maybe even try to find synergies with other challenges in Odyssey as a whole. I believe that there's many use cases, the second layer above this governance layer, many use cases here that would suit being deployed here. An example, the emergency response challenge, some energy challenges. They would need to be plugged in into our ecosystem. If we cannot plug them in, we failed. And if you can show us that, would be great.
Well, questions from you?
Kumbaya.
Yeah, question.
There's two more slides. Wait, sorry, because this is all what we want, but
What do you want?
you guys want stuff too, I guess. Apart from just a cool event. And firstly, anyone joining us will become part of this ecosystem. So this is not a challenge just for Odyssey. This is something that is happening already. Without this challenge, we still need to solve that problem. So apart from Zuid-Holland and T-Mobile and the police and the municipality of Rotterdam who are looking, our building blocks, we are also looking with Yes Delft and AI Lab 1 to see if we can design an acceleration program or an incubation program for after the hackathon so that we can really make the prototypes that come to life also couple to our existing systems. Secondly, you will be able to work on digital innovation in the first 5G ready city of the Netherlands.
Whoop, whoop.
There's no other city ready yet. We are. So if you like to be ahead, this is the challenge for you. And secondly, a little bit the broader view, I must say this a little bit my biased opinion, I think Sven will agree with me, is that what we're doing here should not only be for The Hague. We are the International City of Peace and Justice. If what we're doing is not applicable to any other country in the world that needs this kind of stuff, it would not be a success up to me. Maybe it's not in the first phase, but this is the end point of what we would be aiming for.
This is the big dream, but we start small in Scheveningen, which is a piece of land which is not is 100 meters long, so it's not very long, not very large. So, but start small, think big. Do you have questions? Oh, there it is. Let me go. I go up. Why didn't you sit in the front, man?
I'm sorry, I was directed to the front, but okay. So first off, congratulations on being part of the Odyssey ecosystem, because I think it's very great having a municipality that is forward viewing, like you guys are. It's clearly that you're opening the space, and there's a lot of other municipalities that are not taking this role. So congratulations on that, really. I was part of the last year's hackathon, and just a very practical question. You talk about a 100-meter stretch of land. Does it have any civilians?
Yes, it has. The exact number we can provide you with, but it's the boulevard. So if somebody has been in Scheveningen, it's the boulevard north of the pier, and there are a lot of residents around it. So we have a lot of high buildings that where people live. So we can exactly give you the number, and we can also give you the profiles of the people who live there.
Okay, great, thank you. What about? I saw the website where people can vote for stuff. I think that's really great, allowing a platform for interaction from the bottom up. Have you considered maybe part of your ecosystem, of your platform, allowing for user or civilian initiated projects, so that maybe good ideas from within your community can surface in the Living Lab as part of the challenge?
Yvette, I have no idea if you already know that, but can you answer this question? maybe, and otherwise I can help you. Yeah, can I help? Okay. Yes, we have. We have in the areas, in the local areas, in the stadsdelen. I don't know the English word of that, but you can, you can contribute ideas, and then they will put up to vote. And sometimes they have a chat session also with other residents to get their ideas in a certain direction. But in Scheveningen, we did last year. We had there were several ideas that they wanted more trees, they wanted more water sports activities. They wanted more for the kids that don't have enough money to go to a sports club, that will be provided there. And there was a budget available, and the community could, first of all, design the ideas, and secondly, also divide the budget.
Okay, one last one then. Is the Living Lab open for other initiatives as well? So can we project? Will it be an open ecosystem for other use cases to be applied there as well?
Well, this one you can answer, Givet.
Yes, I can. Yes, it is open. That is one of the fundamental principles we have. And even on different use cases, on different topics, we would like to have several use cases in the same time, because then you really know what would work best. So yes, it is open for public and private partners.
I've got another question over here.
So I have two questions. The first is, you mentioned 6 use cases and 147 others. Could you maybe elaborate what some of these might be?
Yes, we can provide you all. So we will add slides on the forum as well. So then you can read all about it. But to give you an idea, for now we are designing a ecosystem around energy. So with the local entrepreneurs, they have beach houses and they use a lot of electricity. And we are currently designing a CO2 neutral way to share and collect energy. And that provided also to events, so we don't have to use diesel energy supply anymore. So that's one, and the other one is we're trying to figure out how 5G can work for the good. So we are currently talking to guys that developed a robot that picked up cigarette butts, which is using on 5G, and the guys in the room. So maybe you can tell a little bit more about it himself. Yeah, I give him here.
Yeah, what can I tell about it? It's one of the examples indeed. What's your experience now being part of? So the experience, so far it's indeed that it's open, and my experience has been positive, that you think along and try to make things happen. And it's great here. T-Mobile is sitting next to me, so his connections are pretty close. So it's easy to get things rolling. Also, I'm not sure if T-Mobile is a partner of this, but
yes. Maybe
it's also part of your infrastructure. Yep. So overall positive. Yeah, let me know. So we are building. We are with Project BB, and we are building a robot that can indeed recognize small litter, cigarette butts, and in that way clean the beach. It's now a first prototype, but we need help, and that's also why I'm here. I'm looking to gather a team to bring this to the next level. Main challenge is that we need this robot to be much smarter, so it can detect much more litter besides cigarette butts. And we also need this robot to make people more smart and aware about littering and the stupidity about littering on the beach. That's the main idea and behind it. And with the 5G component is to make it teleoperated in a way that you can be telepresent in the robot, and also a virtual or digital twin, so you can see how much waste or litter was there picked up.
Yeah, the rest of the use cases we will share online. Yeah, cool.
So the other question was about the smart hubs, which you've referred to a few times. what do they do? Why would I use them? How would I use them?
Well, the smart hub is part of the smart city infrastructure. So what we've done is when we developed this piece of land, the tarmac is like, it's very unique. It can't be opened for 25 years because you will see, and it will not be nice, not be pretty. So we had to think ahead, what do we need in 25 years' time? So therefore we assigned everywhere where was power, we also have optic fiber. And therefore we can create, we can change objects, single-use objects, so a chair, a light pole, a kiosk, a MUPI, which is a digital screen with advertisement. We can change them into smart city hubs along the needs. So that's what we do. So the smart city hub is more or less the USB port of your computer, where you can add a camera or a sensor that you can use for your use case, and yeah, that's the use of the.
They're plugs into the digital grid that people can use for a flexible array of use cases, and people can program applications into it, stuff like this.
Well, that's the whole idea of the challenge as well. Is first of all, it's hardware, and second of all, it's a where when you put in the hardware, it will collect data, and you can use that and you can process that. So that's about the challenge, and currently it's all dependable on us here to share with you guys to make it accessible, and we hope that we can automate that process. Whoa, a lot of questions.
I saw one in the back.
Yeah, the back one first? Okay, cool.
You were fast.
Yeah, so I have a question about the following. I saw the challenge on the Odyssey website, and I was actually kind of happy to see the challenge described in the way it was. Because it's really about, let me get it there, build the admission system that automates access to the public digital ecosystem, in short. Which I think is a really good way of using blockchain in a supportive role, like purely administrative, and yes, it may be a bit boring, but I think it's pretty exemplary if you can put down a network of, let's say, tools you're using that were verified by the City of The Hague, or persons or organizations, which are easily interchangeable between other living labs. So the admission process is easier. So if you keep on building more use cases, you'll have a whole network of objects, people, and machines, like the smart hubs, which can be easily taken over by other hubs to integrate and start working upon. But now, where I'm seeing slides blow our mind, Ocean Protocol, digital data exchange, how do you think those two overlap with each other? Because, like I said, I think the easy admission is a really good idea, but when you make it way too big by having all these complicated building blocks, you might get in the same scenario as earlier, that you have too many protocols, too many parties, and, well, just a real tough challenge.
Thank you. Ivo?
Yeah, that's a really good question. It's also the reason why we're doing 2 challenges, not 1, because there's a lot of stuff to do. I think it will help to show you the beginning slide, that this one. So here we have all those functionalities together that we think are needed to get this system going. And the admission protocol are basically the orange ones. We have shown you all the building blocks now, so Ocean Protocol would be more challenge 2. We wanted to show them to see how does everything interact. But yeah, challenge 1 focuses mainly on the orange building blocks, namely civic support, which can be a factor for admission. Do we actually want this in our street? But also the admission of sensors instead of in the sense of security standards. So a sensor registry is maybe the traditional way. Maybe we could start thinking about curated registries, which is a more decentralized way of registering stuff. So a new business model will come up there. So yeah, challenge 1, great question. Challenge 1 focuses on that admission part, but we specifically wanted to show you, hey, this is not just on its own. After the admission stuff happens, and it's linked. And if you can show how it's linked, we know how to combine the challenges, and we're very happy.
Yeah, there was a question here. It's hard to see, but I'll walk over.
Bit in the corner. Yeah. Hello. Quite a few years ago, we had in the province of Drenthe here in the Netherlands, we had Sensor Universe, which was a large program of quite a few years. We had a sensor city Assen, very similar to what we're doing here, and we had a hogeschool in Assen, and we had a scientific organization working on smart sensors. I have been working for that organization for a few years part-time, so I might be able to give you some input here and there. My question is, were you aware of that, and did you work with them already?
Who would like to answer that question?
Maybe I can answer it. Also no, but we work together with Rotterdam Rijenoord. There's a Sensor City initiative there as well. TU Delft, there's a lot of going on there as well. Green Village in Delft. So there are a couple of locations, field labs, living labs going on in this area as well, where we're good connected to and we're exchanging. But Asse sounds good as well, so maybe you can help us out.
Marijn, can you maybe give a heads up on the plans that we have with the region as well, or not?
Yes, the idea is basically that we combine with the other living labs to make it we call it a hink-stap-sprong model. Basically translated to English, the first step is within laboratory environment, so that's the Green Village in Delft. And when it works in a controlled environment, that we then allow it in Scheveningen in a real-life environment between citizens, people using the area. So that's basically the jump. And then if it works over there, then it's basically ready to scale to different parts in the Netherlands. So that's the reason why we combine those different field labs in the public domain, but also in controlled environments together to really test out different kind of concepts.
Thank you. More questions?
Hi, thank you for your time. I find the cooperative ecosystem approach to be really compelling, and thank you for your work. I have two questions that are related, and unfortunately they're related to governance, which I understand is a highly complicated and times complex situation. But my first question is, how do you organize the roles in the ecosystem? Specifically, is it a joint venture, equal consortium, or a founder-led consortium? That's the first question. And second is, how do you determine IP right distributions, trade secret distributions? And for the context of this, so I'm working with a team that's working in Detroit with the city officials, and these things have come up. So curious to hear what your experiences were in this.
Marijn?
Basically, we started this project through research and development procurement. And on that procurement, a couple of parties wrote into it. And there are two side effects of that kind of construction. The parties involved cannot make a profit. So basically, they can earn back their own costs, but it's really for research and development. And actually, at this point, we finished with that phase. So basically, the whole construction is back to the municipality because the other parties, for different reasons, stepped out of it. So it's now solely controlled by the municipality. And from here, we're looking as well to, on research, we basically use it as facilitating innovation for third parties. And if we involve in it ourselves, we're looking as well for what kind of constructions can we do regarding that.
Okay. And the second question was again, sorry?
Sorry. So yeah, my question was, so that's a great, thank you for that response. The other question was, what do the roles look like in the ecosystem? For example, is there an operator that manages the blockchain network? I understand Ocean Protocol is a great choice, by the way. Would they be the operators of the network, or is there someone that, like a company, that would facilitate it, or does the government facilitate it? Well.
At this moment, as a municipality, we control all the different kind of roles, and we're still figuring out which kind of role do we want to keep ourselves as a municipality, and which kind of roles do we want to be taken over by third parties. Because we're in the start of this phase, we decided to really figure out all the different kind of roles and what entitles to it, and that's why we kept it as municipality to ourselves for now.
Yeah, so we're open to have like conceptual models of new roles popping up, let's say, and how that would have a business model. So if you have any thoughts on that, it could be part of the solution, I would say. Yeah.
There is hopefully one more time for one short question.
I'm getting the kill it.
The kill it.
Epic question with an epically short answer.
And otherwise, but we have a second session, so please join the second session.
I was just going to say, I have a feeling that anybody who was here for the first session might actually be coming back for the second session. So if you've got a question, bring it back then, because it's all intertwined.
And if you can't make it, please join our community, ask them there, we will answer them very happy.
I would actually say don't join our second session. I know it's weird, but go into the other sessions and try to find the challenges that you can couple with us. Because the second session is going to be similar to this. It's going to be the same slides.
I love your ecosystem thinking there. We don't need to be greedy. Go steal ideas from somewhere else and bring them back to us.
Yeah.
Love it.
And join the community, of course.
And take coffee. Right?
All your questions can be asked there.
Thank you for your time.
Sven, Ivo, and panel, thank you so much for your time.